Os cravos de João jogavam caxangá. Tira, volta, deixa Zé Belém ficar. Guerreiros com guerreiros,
Too short.
Darling, you are the song, and you always belong to my heart.
Whoa. Okay, this is too horny.
Johnny Fedora met Alice Bluebonnet in the window of a department store.
Too nostalgic.
How would you like to hear me tell a story?
Oh, I'd love it. Wouldn't you, Charlie?
Well,
Too forgettable.
No.
Too American? Okay, too wild, but I love it. But which would be my favorite? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Disney Reel to Reel, a deep, deep, deep delve into the Disney animated canon. This month, we are continuing our trek through the Disney animation era rankings because the internet has ruined me. But joining me today is a very special guest, my first relative guest. It's my cousin, Raeley. Raeley, welcome to Disney Reel to Reel.
Hey, what's up? I'm obviously the best cousin. I mean, I'm huge into Disney, and I don't know. I've never been on a podcast before, but this will be fun.
Yes, this is gonna be so fun. I already know it. It's gonna be fun to pop the cherry this way.
Yeah, especially since we'll be talking about two of my favorite movies.
Spoilers! Spoilers!
Oh yeah,
spoilers,
my bad.
spoilers.
My bad.
Oh god.
Hey, I didn't say the names though.
No, you didn't. You didn't. So at least we leave it up for suspense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually like to ask my guests some personal Disney questions before getting into our discussions, whatever they may be. And I wanted to ask, what got you into Disney?
Well, basically our family just going to Disney all the time. You know, I've been going since birth. I've been going to Disney World, literally since I've been born. My first trip out of state was to go to Disney World in Florida. So, yeah, I mean, our whole family is just really into Disney. And I think my first Disney movie that I watched was the animated Robin Hood.
That's a good
And
one.
I've loved that movie ever since. And I mean, by proxy, I've loved all other Disney movies. Well, most of them. Some of them, no, but most of them, yes.
Well, just, checking back in, I'm sorry, I've never asked this before, but how old are you?
I'm 19 now.
Okay.
But I will be 20 June 16th.
Oh, happy early birthday!
Thanks, bestie.
But with that information, I was just going to ask, 19 years later, is Robin Hood still near the top for you?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's probably it's not number one anymore, but it's probably 2 or 3.
Okay. I respect that. It would be nowhere near my top 10, but I just felt like asking.
We have very different tastes.
Yes.
But, yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, those are literally the 2 questions I was going to ask, and you just got them in one fell swoop. So let's get into it, I guess.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so before we get into our rankings, we have to first talk about the package film era as it is, and why we are talking about these specific movies. So basically, this all started because of the Nazis.
Yeah. This was kind of a war going on.
Yes, there was a war. It was kind of the sequel. It was like Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Electric Boogaloo, if you
Elect-
will.
Oh my god. But pretty much what happened to kick things off was that Walt Disney this was in 1941, specifically August of that year, and he was not in a good place because
When was he ever?
well, he was. It just wasn't right now.
Yeah.
But his last few movies had been doing poorly at the box office, and some of them were also critical failures. Fantasia.
The one that he like poured his entire soul into.
Yes, the one that he was like, please take our shit seriously, and they were like, no.
They were like, ahaha, no.
Like, tee, nah, bitch. He's also dealing with an animator strike because of, like toxic workplace behavior.
Yeah,
like,
whenever he made like a literal penthouse just for the rich people in the studio.
Yeah.
It's like,
You
I don't
know
why
about
you're surprised, Walt. Yeah. I went on a deep dive on the animator strike, so.
Awesome. Then I should bring you on this show more often. I love it. But also, what else happened? There was something else. Well, yeah, basically, at the year prior, he had to admit to his shareholders that they weren't making that much bank, and
Yeah.
so like I think people had to get laid off at various points.
Yeah, because like after the strike was over, they had to negotiate with the union to make sure that they laid off like an equal amount of strikers and non-strikers.
Yes.
It was crazy.
It was pretty toxic, and not in the Britney Spears kind of way.
Yeah.
Although I wish it was. But anyway. But yeah, then basically within all that, he also was commissioned by the coordinator of Inter-American Affairs. I believe his name was Nelson Rockefeller. Yes.
What a familiar name to those familiar with American history.
Oh, I feel like I'm getting the line flubbed up. There was a movie from the 50s called How to Marry a Millionaire, and I think they referenced his name, but I can't remember what the context of the line. So now I
mean,
feel
they
stupid.
probably would. Honestly, the Rockefellers are everywhere. You can't escape them.
I mean, I just think about Studio 1A.
True, yeah.
Do you not think about Studio 1A at like 2 a.m. in the morning?
Honestly, no. What I think about at 2 a.m. is like my silly nerd D&D game. And how I can get my character to push another character down the stairs. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, that's more productive between the two. I'll give you that. But anyway, so basically he was commissioned by the U.S. government to make a goodwill trip to South America to make some films about how great South America is, which is always great when you take a white American cis hetero production team, put them in South America, and tell them, make movies.
Yeah, and they're all men.
They're all no, not all of them.
There were a couple of women, but like most of them were men.
The majority, yes.
The majority were men.
Yes.
And it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
I also remember he originally didn't want to go on the trip, but they managed to convince him because they were like, hey, you can go on vacation and get away from this animator strike business. And then he was like, oh shoot, you're right.
Yeah, and they were like, we'll pay for it.
Yeah.
All expenses paid.
And he was like, oh man, then I gotta go.
But anyway, yes. So they were down in South America for like 3 months, I think.
Yeah, it was a couple of months, yeah.
Couple of months, yeah. And when they came back, they produced this film called Saludos Amigos, which is like this 40-minute long package film about essentially Latin America. Like they talked about Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Lake Titicaca, Peru.
Mm-hmm. Like for the time, it was basically a love letter to South America. Blah. Latin and South America.
A love letter, but also kind of like a travelogue.
Yeah, also a travelogue because they did show like footage of them in the planes and stuff.
Yeah. And then also kind of like touristy kind of stuff like, oh, don't you wish you were down here and not having to worry about the Nazis all the time? And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
Uh,
gonna try not to bring up the Nazis in this part, but
I mean, it's kind of impossible because of the time period that these were released in.
yeah. Well, also it's like you hear stories about how like they got down there, and it's like the press coverage for Disney was so big that they wiped the Nazis off like the main headlines of their
Jeez.
newspapers. Like they were a
Oh
big
man.
deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, they did that, and then they went on to produce another film, Three Caballeros, which focused on Mexico.
Some Brazil and some Mexico.
Yes, Brazil and Mexico. And then after the Good Neighbor policy, which was the whole thing with the coordinator of Inter-American Affairs, once that elapsed, they were like, oh crap, we have all this stuff lying around our story departments, and half of our men are being drafted into the army, and we're not making enough money, so what the hell are we gonna do? And then they were like, oh, let's just make a patchwork quilt of all of this material and just put it out into theaters. Hope it makes a banging buck.
That's what it felt like.
Yes.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Yes. And I don't want to paint it as like a, like they were like, oh, we'll just shovel some shit.
Yeah, no, like it's not like it was all shoved together. Like they did try. Like there's obviously effort put into this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it did really feel like disconnected things that were put together in hopes of making a good product.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. But then also, while also struggling to conjure up enough material, they were also doing side projects like live action animation hybrid films. They were also
Yeah.
starting on nature documentaries and stuff, but the 1940s they really weren't killing it.
They were not.
No, like the most successful film was Dumbo, and it made like 1 point something million on a $900,000 budget or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not great.
not great. But yeah, we're here to talk about their struggles and what we liked and didn't like.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm gonna rip apart their work. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. I'm here for this. Let's do it. All right. So for this ranking, I have decided to separate or distinguish my films within like 5 tiers, and you can choose to put them in these exact tiers, or you can come up with your own. So at the top, I have Mah Shiz, which basically covers all the movies that I'm like absolutely obsessed with since childhood, and I've carried on into adulthood, and I just can't stop watching them. I love them all. Then I have the respect and appreciate tier, which basically means like, it's very good. I may not like it, but there's a lot of significance behind the movie, so I give it like mad props. Then I have the ite tier, which basically means like, it's fine, period. Then we have the duds, ... which basically means like, this movie might have a few good things in it, but overall, I'm just not ever feeling the urge to watch this again. And then at the bottom, I have in all caps, Chicken Little.
Okay.
That is mainly because of all of the Disney films, Chicken Little feels the least like a traditional Disney movie, and therefore I do not consider it one. So basically, anything that you're like, this is a pile of garbage, just put it in that tier.
Okay. I did make some quick names for my tiers.
Okay. Oh, feel free to share them.
Yeah, we got literally love, just like amazing, impeccable, just mwah, love it. We got mild love. It's like it's good. It's good. I would watch it if it were on.
Mm-hmm.
We got okay love. Like not my favorite, but I would still watch it. We got okay, I guess. It's like Okay. It's just okay. We got self-explanatory. And then we have literally trash.
Wait, well, just so I'm clear, when you use the word love in these tiers, do you mean it like full, like formal love, or do you mean it like text love?
Like it belongs in my heart.
Okay. Okay, so it's like the formal love.
Yes.
Okay, like that's how it's spelled.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure because at least one of these movies, I love it in like the Tumblr fanfiction.net kind of way, but like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but I didn't want to get them confused. So, I guess if we want to kick things off, we can start off with Saludos Amigos.
Yes.
You go first.
Okay. So, coming back to the spoiler warning, this is one of my favorites. I put it in the mild love tier, not because it's like, not because I don't love it. It's because like I recognize that there are some things in it that are problematic. You know, it's like it's not perfect by any means. There are some things in it where um they they oversimplify things about like Latin American culture, as well as they kind of sexualize it a little bit, but not like, obviously not a ton because it's Disney. But it's like I could still recognize that there are problems with this movie that I don't agree with. But it is part of like my childhood, and it has two of like my favorite characters in it. So I respect it, but I also don't. If that makes sense.
You respect it, but you don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling that this is going to be both a ranking and a debate at the same time.
Yeah, it probably will be.
Yes. And I have a feeling the next movie will be a test to that.
Oh yeah.
But starting things off, I have to disagree with you saying that like they sexualized Latin America. I feel like it was just a general like romanticization of the country because it's
Yeah,
like
I think I used the wrong word. I think I
yeah.
meant like romanticization. I can't say the word, but
Romance nation.
yeah, that one.
Yes. But yeah, yeah, I feel like I want to put Saludos Amigos in the respect and appreciate tier, which is like the second from the top.
That's where mine was. I put it second from the top.
Okay. I think that this movie's greatest problem is its length.
Yeah.
Like 42 minutes, it is by far the shortest of the Walt Disney Animation Studios films. And on one hand, I can understand that because this is basically like international propaganda being packaged to
Yeah.
like an American audience. But at the same time, it's like the things I liked about it, I wish they would have explored even more.
Yeah, I wish it could have been more. I definitely agree on that.
I am all about the Aquarela do Brasil segment.
Oh god, watercolor of Brazil is one of the best animated sequences in my opinion. I think it's so beautiful. The vocals are amazing, and it's art, and I love
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, pretty much everything you said, but also I think it's hard to get into it this early, but Saludos Amigos, it introduces this character named Jose Carioca, and he is probably the first Disney character that I would put intentionally into my babes gallery.
Oh, 100%. He's so baby girl.
I know. I mean,
he and another character that will be brought up very soon.
Yes! I know exactly
They're so
what you're
baby
talking
girl.
about. But yeah, it's hard to say in this movie because we don't get the full extent, but
yeah, we don't get a lot of his character yet.
no.
But
We do know that he loves to party He's an outgoing ambassador of Rio de Janeiro.
He loves his country. He loves to show off how beautiful it is.
Yes.
Especially to Donald.
Yeah. But I will say I also kind of like how they kind of, particularly in the Lake Titicaca segment, they really do kind of parody the way that American tourists travel to other places and
That is very true. They do. They are very aware of how American tourists act. And there are some good comedy segments with that. With like the reed boat, I think is very funny. Donald just like pulling one thing and then it comes undone because he didn't realize that wasn't the like tether. And also like the stuff with like the wind, where like it's educating you but it's also comedy. Because like it's talking about how like the winds can start and stop suddenly because of the altitude and like the water. So yeah, I thought that was funny, but like yeah, they are very aware of how American tourists tend to act, and they make great comedy out of it.
But really, honestly, I would say that if there was one thing that could make me change my ranking in a negative light, it would be the Pedro segment.
Yeah.
Like, it's so basic. It's probably one of the most basic segments of any of these films.
It is, yeah.
It's like the little airplane that could, only he has to be put in this position because his father has a cold and his mother has high oil pressure.
It's like, I feel like it could have been good if it wasn't like kind of sandwiched in the middle of this movie, you know? I feel like it could have been better if it were put in a different like compilation.
I don't know if it could be salvaged at all, because it's like there's probably more stuff you could do with Chile than...
Yeah, there is more stuff that you could do with Chile, but I do recognize what they wanted to do by like talking about like the mail planes and like how they, you know, go across the mountains. And I do think it's interesting. It's just they chose like a very basic story to tell with it.
Yeah. But it has concept art by Mary Blair, so I guess I can't be too angry about
You
it.
can't hate it too much.
Yeah, but you know, I have later movies in the early 50s to think of when I think of her, and this is not one of them. But anyway, okay, so I have it in Respect and Appreciate. You have it in
Mild Love.
Mild Love.
They're the same tier.
Yeah. Okay, we can move on to The Three Caballeros.
Oh man, you already know where I'm putting this. So this is my favorite movie, period. Like point blank. It also has some like very similar problems to Saludos Amigos, but it is my childhood movie. Also, I I have a hyperfixation on the Three Caballeros as characters, like not necessarily the movie. I don't know how else to put this, but I love them so much. Panchito, Jose, and Donald are like, they have like a great dynamic throughout like because like they don't really come in until like the latter half of the film. Like their dynamic throughout the rest of the film is what keeps it going, and I think it's great, honestly. Panchito, mwah, mwah, baby girl.
He and Jose are I think they're bi icons.
Oh, they're such bi icons. Literally, like they carry. I love you, Donald, but Jose and Panchito carry. Oh, I have to talk about Bahia.
Oh, Bahia.
Land of moonlight romance. The Bahia segment is also one of like the most beautiful like pieces of like art and animation of time to me. Sorry guys, I'm biased. But also just like the vocals during that song are also like almost hauntingly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it gives this like it gives this beauty to a city that like I have never been to, I have never seen, but I desperately like whenever I listen to that song, it's like I want to go there just to like see what made this person write these beautiful lyrics, you know? And like what makes like it so like mysterious to the point where like this song exists.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my piece on
Mm-hmm.
Three Caballeros.
Okay. Well, first off, you're so on it. I mean, like, my only caveat would be like with Bahia, it's like I feel like I want to visit an idea of a place more than the
That is
actual
true.
location.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's as much of a hotspot now as it was like
It
75
is
years
not.
ago.
That is true. Bahia is not like as much of a hotspot as it was probably, you know, World War II times.
Yeah.
But it's also like I mean, it's the same thing as like with tourism ads where like you know, like Michigan has like free Michigan, you know, like I know they are lying to me that Michigan is not that cool. But I still want to visit, you know? So like yes, I can recognize that like it's probably selling the idea, but so is all tourism ads.
Yeah.
And this one is at least accompanied by a beautiful work of art that like I can appreciate as art.
On a scale of like the replica painting of Jesus, but he looks like a weird monkey, to anything by like Michelangelo or something like that, where would you rate this movie?
This movie?
Yes.
Oh man. If we're talking about like the landscapes and stuff and like the like that kind of thing, I would put
No.
it
I'm
up
talking
there.
about like I'm putting it like very pretentious art to these people aren't even trying to hide the fact that they're now making art.
I think it's very much like these people are trying to make art, and I wouldn't put it in the pretentious side. I would put it more of the like it's beautiful, but like they made it because they wanted to, or at least like they genuinely thought they were making something good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I think it falls on that. Like I don't think it's pretentious and I don't think it's shit. Obviously, because I'm talking about it like this.
You're talking about it as like it's one of the great American masterpieces of the 20th century.
Because I think it is. But I can also recognize that like obviously not everyone's gonna share my opinion.
Speaking of,
yeah. Yeah, speaking of,
I really, of all the movies on this list, I really want to put The Three Caballeros in the Mah Shiz tier. Because it is the horniest Disney film I think I've ever watched.
Horny. It's so horny.
And that can either be a blessing or a curse, because on one hand it's like, wow, I've never seen Disney like get this into it, especially during the wartime. But like when your closest competitor is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that tackles more like sexual assault more so than like, you know, partying in foreign places, I feel like this wins just by a landslide.
This wins by like consensual sexuality. You know?
Well, half the time I don't even know if it's consensual.
I mean, yeah,
because
that's
Donald
true.
Duck is every straight man at a bar who has gotten too much to drink.
And Panchito and Jose are his bi friends who are desperately trying to keep him from doing anything.
Yes, and the thing is, like, the women, it's like, they're kind of
They're props.
They're props, but they're very intentionally provocative.
Yeah. As much as I love the Yaya section, I do realize that like it's very
Yeah, well the thing is like
Yeah.
I fucking love that scene too. It's like I think when I watched this as a kid, like aside from the actual like Three Caballeros song, that was probably my favorite section of the movie, and it still is. But
Yeah.
like the second half, it just gets really into Donald's feelings, and I think a lot of the older male animators' feelings, and I just like
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't have gone to that party at I don't know, fill in the blank Hollywood celebrity's house.
Oh wait, no, the party at the hotel before the animator strike?
Yes, the field day. Oh my
The
god.
field day. You shouldn't have gone to the field day.
No. Oh my gosh, it was so wild. They're talking about it like 8 years later. Oh my god.
Bruh, the person who rode a horse through the hotel will always like I wonder who that was.
They have a special place in your heart.
They do. And the person who fell out of a tree and didn't spill his drink.
Oh, Fred Moore. That man had a baller ass time.
For real.
Oh
if anyone who's listening, if you get the chance, you should learn about the field day if you don't already know. It's hilarious.
Well, now that you've mentioned it, I'll leave a link to the Defunctland video about it.
Yes, it is genuinely one of the best things that I've ever like listened to, that I've ever learned about. It's great.
yes. But going back to Caballeros. Yeah, I feel like unlike Saludos Amigos, the romanticization of Latin America, it's more attractive to me personally, even though I'm like, these people have their own cultures and ideas about life and their own pride in their own culture and stuff, and I'm just here like, but I think I want to smash here.
Yeah. Like, Panchito literally goes into like a whole tangent about how they celebrate Christmas in like parts of Mexico.
Yeah. Las Posadas.
And I'm just like, I mean, this is really interesting, but I want to smash. You know? Like, it's like,
we respect the Lord and all that he has done for us, but I just want to go fuck.
It's like, respectfully, I would like to hold hands before marriage.
I would like to fuck in the name of the Lord. Oh my god.
But yeah, I will say, my favorite segment of the Yaya segment is the I call it the cockfight segment. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like whenever the two guys are doing like the dance and they're like circling each other, but like the first part of it, they turn into like roosters.
Yes, like they're animated roosters.
Yeah, and then they go back into like humans that are just dancing, and I will talk about it like it's modern art again. I think it's genius. And I love like how it's like the black and red lighting that's like, you know, cut up by like with the cymbal crash, you get like this flash of white. And I think it's great. It's my favorite segment of the Yaya segment.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, like, with these female characters, it's like, how many of them feel in control of their situation and how many of them are like preyed upon.
That's very true.
Like Donald and stuff. And I feel like Yaya, she is like in it for herself.
I feel like Yaya, to me, like how I've always read it is that Yaya is a person who is very in control of her sexuality and like of her situation, because yes, like Donald does like approach her in certain ways. Yes, she will like also return attention, but she's also very clear with like whether she wants it or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And like even like the guy who comes in with the guitar at one point, she like gives him, you know, like some attention, but then she's like, never mind.
She's like, I don't want you.
She's like, you're a playboy, so and then she goes and does her own thing. Like she very much seems like a person where
but then like he brings in all the Beckys with the good hair, and then that just leaves her with Donald, and she's like, well, I've waited this long.
yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I'm Team Yaya. I'm just gonna say that I'm Team
Yeah.
Yaya.
We're both Team Yaya.
Yeah, she's a queen. I hope that she lived a good life. I don't know if she's still alive, but
Well, really, we mean Aurora Miranda, sister of Carmen
Yes.
Miranda. But she did live longer than her sister by like a long shot. So,
but yeah, she was great in this film.
yeah.
I enjoyed her energy. She brought a lot to the film.
Yeah.
It's hard acting when your co-stars don't exist.
Yes.
So
yes,
she did really well with that. I think she did really well with like interacting with the general spaces that they would be in.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. It's like with her, it's like she was interacting in front of an animated background, but then other people like Carmen Molina, she was performing in a live action space, and then the animated characters would have been transposed later on.
Yeah.
So that shows you like Disney was struggling, but they were trying to like still wow you.
Yeah. And like that's another thing about like Three Caballeros, is that like, you know, they were trying new things. And I think it succeeded, but it was just like it was a little ahead of its time. In like a bad way. You know? Like I don't think people were necessarily ready for it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I don't have enough evidence to like combat that. That all being said, I'm going to put it in the respect and appreciate tier just because they are not three gay caballeros.
Yeah. They lied to us on that.
Yeah, false advertising. I hate it.
In case you guys didn't know, part of the Three Caballeros theme song is they literally call themselves Three Gay Caballeros. But it's false advertising, don't believe them.
Don't believe it.
They mean it in like the slang happy. So it's a lie.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'll still take it over contemporary Disney that like shudders every time they have a first gay anything. So like,
yeah.
So points for that, I guess.
Points, I guess, but like, it came out before that was like really a slur, you know, or like before it was used as an insult, or like as a way to identify. So I don't know if they should. I don't. It's like.
I don't know what you want.
I don't know. I'm just saying this. Like I don't know if it counts.
All right. Well, then on that note, we move on to Make Mine Music.
Yes. Okay. If I remember correctly, this is the one with the hats, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
That's how I would always remember it. The one with the hats.
The one with the hats, because it was my favorite segment.
Would die for Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet.
Yes. Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet have my whole heart. So I put this in the literally love tier right next to Three Caballeros, just for Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet, as well as the operatic whale.
Oh, segment. Willie, yes. Willie.
Yeah, Willie. I apologize, I forget names very easily.
I don't think anyone remembers his name or this short or this movie, so you're good.
Yeah, but those two segments alone made me really like this movie. All the other segments were kind of forgettable to me, but those two really stuck out, and I don't know, I just really liked them. I don't have to explain myself to you. Okay.
You don't owe me shit.
I don't owe you an explanation.
Well, Make Mine Music, for me, I'm gonna put it in the IT tier. Because, well, first off, when you were talking about Willie, it's like, yes, he has a beautiful singing voice, and Nelson Eddy is a fucking great tenor, baritone, whatever he really is. But the first song that he sings is Shortening Bread, which is kind of racist. So
I genuinely forgot about that.
Yep.
Let me move it down.
Yeah.
I'll put it next to Saludos Amigos.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a moment. But I loved him singing in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Because I will say, it was a genuinely, like, kind of tragic story.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it. But thank you for reminding me about the beginning.
Yeah. Personal favorites for me were All the Cats Join In.
Mm.
I kind of like Casey at the Bat, but I found Jerry Colonna to be both entertaining and annoying at the same time.
Yeah.
I also love Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet, but not to the degree that you do.
I adore it. I was crying over it. I was genuinely sobbing. I literally texted him. Like,
Yes.
I texted him and I was like, I am sobbing over these hats.
Yes. Yes, I have documentation. She did that. Yes. But I think I was in it more for the Andrews sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And then Willie, I kind of liked the second half more than the first.
Yeah, the second half is where it all is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then we watched the version that had the Martins and the Coys featured at the beginning, which
Mm-hmm.
Make Mine Music is the only movie that we watched that you will not find on Disney Plus because it has been removed from circulation for basically like 20 years due to like having graphic comedic gunplay in the very first segment.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of ridiculous considering like multiple characters die in this movie.
It is really ridiculous considering the rest of Disney's catalog. Like, I don't know, it feels weird to cut that segment out and then like not release the movie.
Yeah.
Especially since they've been so, open about all their other older movies.
I mean, some of them I still think they wish that they could like sweep up.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I know that some of these they wish they could just pretend don't exist, but they can't get away with that. So except for Make Mine Music, they kind of got away with Make Mine Music.
Well, because nobody had a strong enough opinion or passion.
Yeah,
to,
no one really had a strong opinion about it. But yeah.
Also, I will give them points for recycling a Fantasia segment, but then it loses those points because they put a boring piece of music under it.
See, I didn't even register the Fantasia segment.
The Blue Bayou.
Oh, that was Blue By. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense now.
Yeah. So, yeah, for me, it goes in the IT tier.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we move on to Fun and Fancy Free.
Fancy Free. Yes. The puppets really freaked me out. I was so unnerved by the puppets.
The puppets scared me, Mommy.
It's like I'm very much a person who is very frightened by uncanny valley things. I struggle whenever I'm on like a ride and there are animatronics. I have to sit in the middle because I am terrified of being within like arm's reach of these things.
You have a phobia of robots?
Yeah. Like I have to, if I ride Dinosaur, for example, I have to sit in the middle.
I wouldn't even get on the damn thing. You're on your own.
Which is really funny because Dinosaur is one of my favorite rides.
Can't do
as
it.
well as Expedition Everest are also my favorite ride.
Can't do that one either. I'm not a thrill seeker, so you do you, boo.
I mean, I'm not really either. I don't know why I like them so much, but that's off topic. I'm just talking about how I'm
talking about these creepy ass puppets.
Yeah, so I have to put it in the okay, I guess tier, where like the first half was fine, but then once we got to the puppets, I checked out. I was gone. I could not focus on the rest of it.
Wait. Hold on. If we had to rank them, You have to. I think there were 3 to 4 puppets. 3 to 4. So there was Charlie McCarthy.
Yeah.
There was Mortimer Snurd, and then there
Uh-huh.
was Ophelia.
Yeah, Ophelia. Ophelia is number 1 because she's just a hand. She was okay. Mortimer is last. I did not like how he looks.
He gave you the bad vibes.
He gave me the ick. And then the other one, what was his name?
Charlie McCarthy.
Charlie McCarthy. He goes second only because I hate how Mortimer looks so much.
He gets a higher ranking because that bitch is so ugly.
But Charlie McCarthy looks like he would hate crime me, so I don't like him either.
Oh my god.
He looked like he would call me a slur for being queer. So I didn't like him.
Oh my god. It's funny because I'm gay and I think I'd vibe with him.
I don't know. I didn't get that. Well, I also hate puppets, so
Yeah, that too.
There's
but
no
I
winning.
feel like he's just sarcastic enough that you're like, I might get cool with him like every once in a while, but like not a bestie.
I don't know, man. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, basically this is so stupid, but my rankings are pretty much the same with an added message of R.I.P. Ophelia.
Yeah, R.I.P. Ophelia. She deserved better.
Yes.
I wanted more of her.
Oh, help.
Literally.
It was so gross.
It was strange.
It literally looked like he literally took some feces, put it around his hand, and formed a mouth and eyes.
It was like, yes, it was creepy, but at least it wasn't the 2 horrifying puppets sitting on the couch.
Yeah. We're probably the only people in the history of Disney podcast to spend this much time talking about puppets that aren't Pinocchio. So
Yeah, it's not even like we're not even talking about Pinocchio.
no,
We're talking about puppets.
Yes.
You know, I can't even watch the Muppets.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Like I can in like short bursts, but I can't like I can't do the ride or like the experience, I should say. The Muppet like experience or whatever. The 3D one.
The 4D, yeah.
Yeah.
3D, 4D. I can't remember. I've never been on that.
Yeah. It's good, but like yeah, I can't do it because of like puppets freaking me out.
Yeah. I get that. That being said, I think Fun and Fancy Free for me is going to go into the dud tier.
Mm-hmm.
Because the weird thing is, I think this was the first of the package films that I ever watched.
Uh-huh.
And so I think I still have like a sentimental attachment to it.
Yeah.
That being said, this movie is garbage to me now as an adult, and it inspires very little in me. I do love Dinah Shore.
Mm-hmm.
She saved the bongo segment, but otherwise I couldn't care less.
Mm-hmm.
Jiminy Cricket was there, and he seemed to be trotting around this suburban 1940s house with like a grown-up Figaro and Cleo hanging around.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because it made me feel old. And then there was that puppet birthday party for Luana Patton, and I was like, it is creepy, but I'm also just kind of amused by it because it's like this girl is so pathetic and lonely that she's like, my best friends are puppets.
Yeah, she's only friends with these 2 puppets and a hand.
Yes. My best friend is a hand.
Like, okay, whoever the guy is.
Edgar Bergen.
Okay. Is he supposed to be like her dad? Or her
I don't think
uncle?
so. He's actually a celebrity. Like back in the day.
Okay.
So she basically got invited to this celebrity's house for her birthday.
For her birthday. Okay. That makes it even weirder to me.
I know.
especially in the age that we live in now, where celebrities often leverage that kind of thing to do bad things.
This is basically like the creepy version of Taylor Swift's Secret Sessions.
Yeah, it's just it gives ick. It gives ick.
It gives ick. But we barely touched on Mickey and the Beanstalk, which seems to be like the perennial between the two segments.
Yeah, it's okay. How do I formulate my thoughts on Mickey and the Beanstalk? Because I don't like it that much.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I like the Puss in Boots version better.
The one time that DreamWorks beats Disney to the punch.
Yeah, but I mean, my introduction to the Mickey and the Beanstalk was Epic Mickey.
Mm.
And it was much cooler in that than it is, in real life.
Keep in mind, everyone, that video game came out in 2010, just so we're clear.
Yes, it did come out in 2010. Yeah. Because I didn't watch a lot of these as a kid. The only ones that I watched as a child were Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros. So Make Mine Music, Melody Time, Fun and Fancy Free, and then Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I never watched these as a child. I should say that up front. That's why some of mine are probably going to be less, what's the word?
Sentimental.
Sentimental, nostalgic
Mhm.
based. But yeah, I mean, it was good for what it was going for, the Mickey and the Beanstalk, but it's like it didn't really seem that cool.
No.
It felt like, because it was sandwiched in between, an okay segment and then a segment that just made me mentally check out of the rest of the film. I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah. I will say that everything that I dislike about Donald Duck is in that segment.
Yeah, I would agree.
I do not like when he enters into a state of psychosis. I do not like when he is so obnoxious that he interferes with the plot.
I do not like when he gets so hungry and angry that he steals the axe and nearly kills a cow, and then the other two have to physically restrain him.
Yeah.
It's like, Donald, I know you're not you when you're hungry.
Yes. And for a cow who's an utter failure, as Charlie tells us.
Utter.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick pun. I'll give him that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So we can move on to Melody Time.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where to put this. I want to put it higher because of the Jose content.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I have to put it in okay, I guess, just because I don't like the other segments, like, at all.
You only like 1 out of 10.
Yeah. It's bad. To me, it's bad. Okay, wait, actually, okay. I like 2 segments. I like the ice skating segment.
The Once Upon a Winter Time.
Yeah. But I don't know. It felt very mediocre to me, and it just wasn't my thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I like it's for me it's between Fun and Fancy Free and Melody Time, as I'm trying to figure out like which one is the most like a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
Being like, oh, we're just here filling up space with content. Please give us more money so we can make Cinderella.
They both felt like placeholders to me, but I think Melody Time to me felt more like it. But yeah.
And it's weird because I feel like Melody Time and Make Mine Music, they both have the same like old-timey Americana energy to them.
Yeah.
But Make Mine Music was at least funny.
Yeah, Make Mine Music at least, like, it felt like it was doing something.
Like there was literally a bar fight in the Johnny Fedora segment, and then in Melody Time, the best we have is Pecos Bill. He has these guns that fire off as he's making out with Slewfoot Sue on the
Yeah,
top of a
because
mountain.
because Walt Disney was obsessed with the Old West, so
I don't know if
he
it
was
was just him. I think it was America. Like I think Western expansion kind of ended around like the late 40s.
Yeah, like America, and I mean, you remember Disney's America.
Oh my god. We don't talk about Eisner. No, no, no. We don't talk about Eisner.
Oh man, I will never stop taking the piss out of Michael Eisner.
Don't ever stop. Keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah. It felt very it does feel like very old Americana. And
Yeah.
I think like Make Mine Music does it in a good way. Fun and Fancy Free and Melody Time don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give joy.
No. I think I'll put Melody Time in the IT tier. Mainly because, like you, I don't like that many segments. But apart from the Pecos Bill segment, I don't think there's anything in here that is offensive to me as a viewer.
Yeah, like I don't think anything is offensive necessarily.
And I don't even mean like culturally insensitive or anything like that. I mean like
Yeah.
there isn't much that is like I feel like this is a waste of my time. These creators do not respect my intelligence or anything like that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And funnily enough, the Blame It on the Samba segment, it was supposed to be for another South American package film.
Yeah,
But
I figured
yeah.
because the Aquacra, is that it?
The Araquan bird.
Araquan, yeah. That came back, and that was also in Three Caballeros.
Mm-hmm.
Was it also in Saludos Amigos, or was it just
No. It was just those two.
Yeah, it was just in and it felt like it should have been in a different like movie.
Yeah, and the fun part is that it was supposed to have Carmen Miranda in there, but I don't think they could ever like get her over to the Disney studio.
Yeah.
So what could have been?
If only.
If only. I need more Tutti Frutti hats. All right, and then finally we get to The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
This one was my least favorite.
Ooh.
Okay. I don't like Mr. Toad. That whole segment, I was literally like in my head, I was watching this and I'm just like, okay. Like I'm constantly just being like, they're really stretching this. It felt like it didn't have a direction. Like obviously it did because it was a finished product, but the whole time I'm just like, okay, why is this happening? Why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It felt just so. It felt stupid. It felt like, I don't know. Even as a kid, I don't think I would have enjoyed this.
And Sleepy Hollow didn't do it for you?
No, because I thought I hadn't watched this, but whenever I did watch it, like I had seen that segment before. I had seen the Ichabod segment, but like before this whole thing, I didn't know that it was from this. And I don't know. Even back then, I didn't really enjoy it, and I still don't really.
You don't even like Cyril Proudbottom?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. It just I have to put it in the literally trash tier. Cuz it didn't engage me as a viewer. I didn't like it the whole time. I was literally just like, okay, why, like where is this going? Like if it just very felt like there was no direction. They like made up things as they went along. Was the art good? Yes, but that's like my only compliment.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I'm harsh on this one.
Yes, indeed. And what's crazy is I'm gonna put it in the Mah Shiz tier. Because I think this movie was the birth of the chaotic half of my personality.
Which is fair. Which is fair.
Like, I loved the Mr. Toad segment when I was a kid. I loved it. I love that he was so dapper and so fabulous, and yet he was constantly fucking up everyone's lives. And I was just like, yes, you go and damage that greenhouse. You do that. Yes. Like, I love this. Even though he is kind of a psychopath.
Like I felt like I don't know. I like my characters not being awful people. Like
Well,
don't know.
he isn't good, but at the same time I'm like, I just enjoy watching him create chaos.
Like I mean some of the comedy there like was kind of okay.
Like, you did not lull when there was a police pursuit on a train and they were like just shooting at him and he was like, hell yeah, I'm getting off on all of this.
What I laughed at was when he like this is like the only time that I like actually thought it was really funny. It was when he was dressed in drag to escape prison.
Yes.
And he used the ball and chain like attached to his leg. He used that as like a
bustle.
Yeah, a bustle. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's like, oh, Mr. Toad, I didn't know you were thick.
Yeah. I thought that was funny, and then like when it dropped down also, and that's what revealed him.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise it just felt like the director's meeting was just like, well, what if this happened? Ooh, what if we did this? What if we did this? With like no thought as to like how to properly connect it. But yeah. I'm sorry to bum you out. I'm so sorry.
No, I'd honestly like I get it. Like, I'm not super like, this is the most passionate I'm going to be about any of these movies except for the 3 Caballeros. But
Yeah.
but like I love the absurdity of it all, you know? Like, I love how they get to that trial and there's that super hoity-toity like prosecutor, and when anyone gives a response as a witness, he's like, that is all, thank you.
And then he walks away waving his hand.
Yeah, and like they barely get a word in edgewise, and I love that shit.
The one whenever Cyril is called to the stand, whenever he is leaning down into
the only way a gentleman gets anything, the honest way. Right. And what is the honest way? Haha, I thought you wouldn't know that, governor.
Yeah, that was...
I love that
That
shit.
was a pretty good burn. That
yes,
was pretty good.
I love that. Well, the thing is, like, I think they carried on those trial jokes into, like, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Where it makes even less sense why anything's happening, so I kind of, I give it a pass because they were produced around the same time.
Yeah, but, I feel like, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland is supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's Wonderland.
Yes, I know.
But this is supposed to be,
England.
England. It's Tuesday, innit? You know,
Yeah, I really don't know if there's anything you can say that will hurt me. I mean, I just love and I will say that you probably are grateful, one of the few people that are grateful that the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride attraction closed at Walt Disney World.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't handle it. You wouldn't handle it very well.
No, I would not.
No. And then Sleepy Hollow, I loved. I feel like this, that there are some movies in other eras that we've either talked about or will get to later that I feel like they give a good balance of my personality. So it's like some movies can be very mellow and agreeable and sentimental, and then others can be really crazy, off the wall, absurd. And I think
Yeah.
this movie like puts those two things in conjunction with one another. And like Sleepy Hollow, it's like I love that it's so mellow and things, and then at the very end it ramps up with the Headless Horseman chase, which I love how it's so scary and so funny at the same time.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. And then actually the MVPs, because nearly every character in that segment is pretty much a douchebag. But the MVPs are Katrina Van Tassel and Tilda, who is that really thirsty lady at the Halloween dance.
Yeah.
I just love that. Like Katrina, she's in like the Aurora Miranda tier of like, I'm in control of these men and they do my bidding and they fight over me, and I like that because then I know who's gonna smash the best, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, and then Tilda, it's like I hate the fat phobia, but also like I enjoy her confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the music, I love the music.
I will say, like, the music in this, like, in both segments were pretty good. I don't have many complaints about the music.
Yeah, the Merrily song in particular, I think that's a real banger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, all that being said, it's in the Mah Shiz. All right. Well, actually, going from bottom to top, could you just go through?
Yes, so literally trash, which is the bottom tier, is where I put Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I didn't put any in the category. We got Fun and Fancy Free and Melody Time together in okay, I guess. We got Saludos Amigos and Make Mine Music in mild love. And then we have Three Caballeros, Literally Love, S tier, perfection. Mwah.
All right. And then I have nothing in the Chicken Little category because nothing is as bad as Chicken Little, I promise you all. I have Fun and Fancy Free in the dud category. Then we have Make Mine Music and Melody Time in the ite. Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros in the Respect and Appreciate. And then The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad in the Mah Shiz tier. Because we're very different people.
Yeah, I feel like this illustrates our different tastes.
I would like to analyze that a little bit, but I don't know how to articulate it at the moment.
How about this? I like Chicken Little. So there's your answer right there.
Oh my god. Are you even a Disney fan? Do you even go here? Like,
Okay, well, I still hate Home on the Range.
yeah, but it's still like,
I think Home on the Range is worse than Chicken Little.
but it has Alan Menken. So
That can't
songs by
save
Alan
it from
Menken.
being a bad movie.
No, but that makes it a Disney movie. That's all I'm gonna say.
No.
I'll take Alan Menken and his crappy yodeling songs over a Spice Girls reference that's like 30 seconds long.
Listen, Chicken Little I think ranks above Home on the Range.
Girl, I already have somebody listed for the post-Renaissance ranking, but if you were there, oh, we'd have some fights.
Hey, if you want to do a third person.
Oh my god. I'll keep you on the list.
Pull me
my
in
God.
just for that.
Just for that.
Just for
No, I'll
Chicken
have you.
Little.
I'll have you send in a voice message being like, "This is why my cousin Wyatt is the dumbest fuck ever, and this is why Chicken Little is the greatest Disney animated film in their 85 years of history."
Okay, I wish I could say that, but like I would not rank Chicken Little above Robin Hood.
Okay.
It's not that much of a favorite. It's not in my top 10. So Don't worry about that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious, where does Snow White fall?
Probably. I think it would be at 10. It would be at 10 in my top 10.
Okay. Phew.
Yeah, I don't hate Snow White. I do like it.
Well, by putting it at number 10, you say that you like it more than a lot of other people.
Yeah, like I will say certain things about it. We had a whole conversation about it at Christmas.
At Christmas, we had a conversation about corpse germs at Christmas.
Yeah, corpse germs. And your mom walked in. It was very interesting.
Oh my gosh. And I'm over here being like, no, this is really romantic because it was really chaste and he respected her boundaries.
And I'm like, yeah, but what if she was dead?
I'm like, no, she's not.
And I'm like, okay, but
oh my god. Well, I guess I have a final question that I ask at the end of every episode. But with this, it's going to be pretty broad because we're talking about a whole era and not a specific movie.
Yeah.
So, how do you think the package films influence the way that Walt Disney Studios produces films like to this day, if at all?
So it feels like, I mean, a lot of all of these were compilations.
Mm-hmm.
They were compilations of multiple shorts that were stitched together. Ichabod and Mr. Toad was only 2, but the rest of them were like, multiple segments that were stitched together in order to create something. It may not have always been good.
I think Fun and Fancy Free people generally consider 2 segments, and then Edgar Bergen's just the interstitials.
Okay, but yeah, like.
But that's a technical thing. It doesn't make a fucking difference.
It doesn't really make a difference to me. I don't get into that technical stuff. Just because, that's not my expertise. So I feel like after making these movies, they really moved away from that kind of taking a bunch of unrelated things and putting them into one package. They moved more towards, telling singular stories that actually extend to, looking at you, Saludos Amigos, actually extend to like a proper runtime. And I feel like they focused. It's like they focused. They ended up focusing less on like already developed characters, like like how a lot of these were either older characters from like the old animation days, or it was like Donald and Mickey and Goofy. Because like even in Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos, like they reuse Jose Carioca, Donald Duck, and Goofy is in Saludos Amigos.
Yeah, just think about that. There's only 2 movies that feature original characters, like completely original.
Yeah, so I felt like, yes, they would like continue telling like kind of like fairy tale stories, but they would put more effort into making original characters that would still work in these like fairy tale like settings. And they made sure, like more sure, that they would be well thought out continuous stories, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like they were forced to make experiments.
Yeah, like this was very much an experimental time, and it's very obvious that these were experiments.
And yet they were so intentionally commercial too.
Yeah, but it just, if it didn't really work out, I don't think, but they did learn lessons, and they put those lessons to work.
Yeah. I would say that definitely of all the eras, this is the most cartoony of the bunch.
Yeah.
Particularly because a lot of the directing, the directors of each segment's like they're like They're the ones making like the Donald Duck, the Pluto, the Goofy shorts, and all that stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like that's their bread and butter. They're not over here working on Fantasia, you know.
Yeah, they're not working on Fantasia.
No, but I honestly feel like this, because of that, this is the era that has embraced the craziness the most, and I kind of wish that Disney, well, I guess maybe absurdity is the correct word, and I do wish that Disney kind of would go back to that a little bit. I mean, you hated the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad for its chaotic nature, but I'm like, let's bring it back.
But I loved Three Caballeros for its chaotic nature.
Yeah, but you liked it for its horny, chaotic energy.
Yes. But I have to preface, I am asexual, so it's very much a joke when I say.
Okay. So for me,
like,
it's not a joke. Okay.
Yeah, for you it's a joke. It's not a joke, but for me it is a joke.
Okay.
But like it's different chaotic energies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That like what we liked. And I too enjoyed how, insane some of these got.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, sometimes it didn't work out for me. And I do wish that they kept some of that. I mean, sometimes it shows up, like Meet the Robinsons. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
The Emperor's New Groove. Insane.
Yes. But it takes like a specific director or producer.
Yeah, you have to have a good director. You have to have like an intention with it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they did kind of not do that anymore. Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also shout out to the soloist in the Trees segment. I fell in love with him as soon as he said a nest of robins in her hair, and I was like, this is my soulmate from another life.
Yeah.
I know that's totally pointless because nobody, of all the segments in Melody Time, that's the one that they probably skip the most, but I just have to give him a shout out because he's doing the Lord's work.
I wish I remembered that.
It's the one where they were literally singing about a tree.
I don't know. I think Melody Time felt like the longest. So
It's the one where at the very end the tree made a symbol of like a cross.
Oh, okay.
And like all the animals were very naturalistic and realistic.
I only remember that.
Okay.
I don't remember anything else about that segment.
But I thought it was cool. So
I'm sure it is. That movie felt like it was going on forever.
Oh, we didn't even mention those creepy like drama masks that introduced the thing.
Oh god. Oh, don't get me started on those. Oh, I hate those.
Maybe I'll save you for that episode. I don't know. Time will tell.
Oh man. I'm a huge horror nerd, and just like the drama mask just makes me think of an SCP. Shout outs to y'all who know that. It's just like it's the worst. It's the worst thing.
And on that note, that concludes this chapter on Disney Reel to Reel. Really, this was as much of a blast as I expected, so thank you for giving me some laughs about this very obscure period in the Disney studio history.
You are welcome. Yeehaw.
Actually, I ought to talk to you at some point about like which movies you would absolutely want to talk about. I know Caballeros is one of them.
Yeah.
But I think I might have another friend that also really likes that movie, so maybe that'll have to be a 2-parter or something.
I'll fist fight them.
Sorry, friend of the show, Ree.
sorry, bestie. Whoever you are. But like, yeah, I can send you some of like the other movies that I really enjoy.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally
I mean, you already
great.
know about Robin Hood, but
Yeah, but that'll
I'm
be
sure-
like ages away.
yeah. But yeah, I can send you some other ones.
Awesome. Well, I guess that is that. So until next time, have a magical day, everybody.
Bye bye.
Oh, bye-ya-ya. When twilight is deep in the sky, bye-ya-ya. Someone that I long to see keeps haunting my reverie. And so the loneliness deep in my heart calls to you, calls to you. Bahia, land of romance, moonlight, music, beautiful girl.